Okay, so a few months ago, I was at the thrift store, and I noticed this JVC speaker, and my first impressions of the speaker were like, let me just do the tap test on these two cones. That sounds horrible, I'm not hearing any bass. Then I noticed the labeling, and I was curious. Compact component system. Okay, sounds cheap. That's just one of the little box things. The tape player and the CD player and the record player and the receiver all in one, or whatever it is. Then I noticed it says 3 speakers. Labyrinth Aeroport SuperWoofer. What they're trying to say here is that there is another speaker cone concealed somewhere in this box, probably a bandpass type box, most likely a 4th order, with a sealed back and a ported front, further proving that, it says full range speakers, 2 blue-gray wires, lower subwoofer, lower terminals, black and red wires, and looks like it's higher wattage and lower ohmage for the subwoofer. And the first thing I did when I got this speaker is took it apart, and I can tell you it's pretty interesting what I found inside. And I was right about it being a bandpass speaker box, and it's pretty interesting what I found in the front. So, we have to start by removing the back panel, which is 8 screws, 3 on the sides, and 1 on the top and 1 on the bottom. Okay, so after removing the screws, I was shocked by how this cover just lifted off. No screws, no nothing. And what I found underneath it was exactly what I thought I'd find. 2 wires plugging in to a speaker right there, and 2 more wires plugging into a wire going into the front section of the box. Now, here's the next thing I noticed. The speaker is screwed into the box using 4 screws, and it looks like it uses a gasket around the cone to seal it. You'll notice the 1 screw there and the 2 screws there. They're just some of the screws that hold on this front panel. So first let's remove the 4 screws that are holding in our subwoofer. And to be honest, this isn't quite that much of a speaker, but it definitely does sound pretty good. So I will be doing a sound test on this particular speaker in my next video, or one of my next videos, and it's going to be coming up soon. Now, that's when I noticed these speakers are held in with their own boxes. Looks like they got their own, they have their own acoustic suspension speaker boxes. That's exactly what I wanted to find. The only problem with this is, this front box is irregularly shaped for the subwoofer. I also discovered an air leak between the wood and the plastic. So, the next thing we're going to do is remove the 3 black screws that you can see there, and 1 over there. Next step is to turn it on its front side again, and what we notice is these screws hold on the front panel. So does this one right here. This screw is a real screw, but it just screwed in there for looks. It doesn't have any purpose of holding anything on, and they just put it there to make it look more symmetrical, I guess. And to open this one bolt, we would need a 3mm hex key, and of course it's metric, because if it used our American system, we wouldn't really, there wouldn't really be a way to disassemble this in any other country, I guess. So these can just be pried out by sticking a Phillips screwdriver inside them and sort of prying them out like this on the side, so you can just pull them out. It's much easier if you have long nails, and there's a screw underneath each one of these. So now, of course, this front cover is just gonna come straight out. 2 plugs that we have to unplug here. Now, probably gonna turn it in that direction. Just look down here. It's the exact same in both of these, so I'm just gonna remove one of them, which is as simple as just removing 4 screws. So after removing this, better if we unplug these wires. This piece of cotton or polyfill, I don't know which one it is, just comes off. Set that to the side, and this speaker, of course with a foam seal around it, comes off. More of the same plugs that we saw on all our other things. I can tell you, that's about what I was expecting to find. Similar qualities to some drivers I've seen of this size. Most likely the ones made by Iowa. And if you remember really long ago, the boombox speakers that really moved a lot and had a ton of bass. These are better quality than those, but when I got this speaker at the thrift store, one of the speakers had a pushed-in dust cap, and the boombox speakers were already broken. So what I did was, I know it doesn't look very good, but I glued one of the dust caps from those old boombox speakers onto this speaker, and it looks okay. There's just a little spots from where I pried the dust cap off the old speaker, but it works, so that's the best thing. If it looks really horrible, but it works, it isn't trash. So, especially if it works well. So, 4 ohm speakers, guessing 35 watts because the back said 35 watts unless they have a bloated rating or something. Could be 35 watts between the two maybe, but they are wired in parallel, so that wouldn't make sense, and they are 4 ohms. So 8 ohms at 35 watts would make this speaker driver probably close to 35 as well. So, fabric surrounds, they do that thing. I'm gonna also be testing this driver. It's actually a fairly impressive driver. It moves a lot without getting hot. And there's a metal dust cap to even further prove my point of not getting hot. So that's what's inside one of these JVC SuperWoofer inside speakers. Oh, wait, there's more. Okay, so while setting up for my next video, I proved myself wrong about these speakers being parallel wired. What I discovered is that if you look over here, it's actually series wired. It goes into the speaker, out of the speaker, into the other speaker, and out that, and out the negative. So I totally remember this being parallel wired, but I proved myself wrong, and it's actually a series wired system. So just a little correction. And finally, thanks for watching, like and subscribe, and see you in my next video.